This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Welcome to the Row 1 Seat 1 podcast. This is Ben, aka Boston Nuga. I want to appreciate you guys listening to the show 2 weeks ago and hope we can follow it up with a good show this week as well. We have the very talented Emil Jay on the show this week. My plans for this week are going to Action Wrestling down in the Atlanta area and then TWE Wrestling in Chattanooga. I've mentioned this before, but gotta find a place where you can bring your family for a wrestling show. That really makes all the difference. My daughter and I have a wonderful time at TWE. We really, she gets her run of the place basically, and she just makes friends, and everyone knows her, and it's just a really good daddy-daughter bonding time to find your local wrestling place and really let them get to know you and you get to know them. I can't stress highly enough how good it is to have a local wrestling place to call home, and both in Action and TWE, I feel like I have two homes, so really looking forward to that this weekend. A little bit about Place to Be. On the network this week, we have the store. Show off your favorite podcast logo on merchandise like t-shirts, hoodies, and more. Go to tpublic.com and type in PTBW in the search. On a mega episode of Pro Wrestling Love, Marty and Stacy conclude their 5-part series counting down the best matches from WWE in the years 2010 to 2014. On YouTube Roulette, Scott spins the wheel for Steiner's Bret Hart, David Arquette, and more. On NWA Saturday Special, Scott and Dr. G discuss their most recent episode of Power, including National Tournament semifinal match, Trevor Murdoch, A Loud Rebellion, and more. Sean Callum and Dr. G welcome back Matt Souza to conclude NWA Crock and Roll's 4-part series Before They Were Crockett, looking back in 1960s J.J. Dillon, as well as Buddy Landell, Barbarian, and more. On Main Event, Scott, Nate, and Steve discuss all things current wrestling, including New Japan, Impact, AEW, and a Hell in a Cell preview. Please rate, review, and subscribe. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Just search Place to Be Wrestling Network. We have Aquadapods. The PTB Pop Experience is all about pop culture. Jennifer Smith has a Jenny position with takes on pop culture and life. Marvel and more. JT Rozzero, Aaron George, and Chad Campbell have great shows in wrestling on the North-South Connection feed with histories of WA, TNA, and other wrestling topics and takes. And Glenn and Scott Butler are continuing their spectacular journey through music, films, and more on the Non-Toxic Fanboys podcast, where they try to enjoy the things they love. Join our Place to Be discussion group on Facebook. Go to Facebook, look up Place to Be, and request an invite. Our 2021 stretch project is determining the greatest NWA WCW wrestler of all time. Go to facebook.com/GWCW and join the group. Go to placetobenation.com every day. We have new voices and fresh takes, bringing you articles on topics in the world of wrestling, sports, and pop culture, including Trent's SmackDown on Fox Report, Paulie's Perspective, and Matt's Disney live-action journey. And if you're shopping on Amazon, click on the banner on the right side of Place to Be Nation and use placetobenation.com/Amazon. Takes you right to Amazon and helps us out with no cost to you. Now we're on with the show. Bringing on Emil Jay, great announcer for GCW, Jersey Championship Wrestling, H2O. Basically, if you're in the Northeast, you need to be using Emil Jay as either your ring announcer or your color commentary guy. Emil's a great guy, and we had a really fun conversation. With that, we're on to the show. We are here with Emil Jay, commentator, ring announcer, general good guy all around. Emil, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ben, thank you for having me. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, seriously. I think we've known each other, 4 or 5 years now, I think?
Oh, at least, yeah. Because, at least because SCI was 2016, so that's already 5 years.
Yeah. Oh, God. Wow, we're getting old.
Yeah, we are. So probably like 6 or 7, I'd say.
And you've been killing it the last few years. You've been involved in wrestling for how long now?
Just about 12 and a half years now. Thank you also for that.
No, it's the truth. It's the absolute truth. So 12 and a half years of your life
have been involved in this crazy business of wrestling. One thing you're definitely known for is kind of how you got your start loving wrestling. From what I recall you talking about on other podcasts, you started watching wrestling in the wonderful year of 1995. Is that correct?
It most certainly is the most best year of professional wrestling. Like, for real, like, all over the world, wrestling in 1995 was really, really, really good.
I'm going to hand you the keys to plead the case, because everyone, says, 1995 was a terrible year, WF sucked or whatever, preach, brother, preach.
Yeah, a lot of people that I feel like say that stuff are the people that haven't actually watched the stuff from 1995, really. I mean, they probably go on, like, whatever modern form of wrestle crap there is, and they see somebody writing up about King of the Ring 95 and it sucked, and King Mabel. Well, okay, guys. First of all, King Mabel rules.
Mabel rules.
Yeah, like, he's the best. And secondly, like, if you think that you can't sit there and honestly say with a straight face that the in-ring of WWF was not good in 1995. You can't do it. It's wrong. It's false. I mean, you had Bret Hart killing it, Hakushi, 1-2-3 Kid, Razor, Shawn, Jarrett, like, Diesel had bangers. I mean, where is it bad? I don't understand where they come to that conclusion. But it's not just WWF either. I mean, WCW in parts of 95 were not that good. But other parts were really good. Like when Nitro, like as soon as Nitro started, like the last half of 1995 really kicked into gear for WCW, I feel like. And ECW was amazing in 1995.
Killer.
Yeah, probably the best year in the promotion's history. There's some people that would probably argue 1996.
Yeah, I mean, either way. Those 2 years were the peak.
Absolutely. From August of 94 until, like, the first pay-per-view until April 97. That's
sweet spot.
ECW. Well, actually, that's the fake ECW. The real ECW was on Sci-Fi Network in the late 2000s. But yeah, ECW was killer. Like, Lucha Libre was, like, great. Like, AAA and CMLL were both producing very good matches. All Japan. I mean, just yesterday was the 26th anniversary of that tag match on 6/9/95. Incredible.
God, we're getting old.
Yeah, All Japan, New Japan, FMW, like 5/5/95 for FMW. Yeah, that was huge. King of the Death matches in IWA Japan, 95. I mean, look at all the stuff that happened in 1995. Collision in Korea.
Oh, I forgot that was. I just watched a documentary on that too. Like, that was 95. That was the largest crowd in wrestling history. How do you dispute that?
Right. I mean,
were they forced to be there? Who knows? I mean, that's not for me to say.
Yeah. Did they know what they were watching? Probably not. But they were there, and
they did cheer Inoki at the end after sitting on their hands for 2 days straight.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If they didn't cheer for him, he'd probably make them all line up and slap them all in the face. The Inoki slap.
Who's the most underrated wrestler of 1995 who deserves their due, who hasn't gotten their due?
Oh shit, that's a hell of a question. Like in 1990, like using their work from 1995 specifically.
Yes.
Whew, boy. I'm gonna say, how about this? I don't know if it's like the most correct answer, but he's a guy that kind of popped into my brain at first. I'm going to go with Brian Christopher.
Too sexy.
Yeah, like his stuff in 95 USWA was really good. And I feel like Brian Christopher could have been a huge star. Like as Brian Christopher, not Grandmaster Sexay. I mean, he did reach those heights But I mean,
he kind of got pigeonholed once he went to the Fed. Like he became the goofy guy, and his Memphis stuff was solid. He had the pedigree. He could work. That there was never any question about that. It was just they wanted to make him a goofball.
Yeah, and I think if you take guys like if you take some of those guys from the mid '90s and they were okay, like if WWF in 1995 is like the way wrestling is now, then we would be seeing on Monday Night Raw guys like Skip and 1-2-3 Kid, Nakushi, Marty Jannetty, Brian Christopher, guys like that. But they would be like huge now. They would be like,
and they give them time to work now too, because
exactly.
now they have the time. It was Raw was a short show at the time, and now they got 85 hours between Peacock and the networks to play with. You just have 30-minute Bret Hart matches every week.
Right, Bret Hart, and like Rad Radford would probably like.
See, that's the Emil I love. Emil dropping Rad Radford in there as a legitimately good worker. This is why we're friends.
Oh yeah, Rad Radford was awesome. I mean, like they didn't really give him a chance to like do anything, but Louis Spicoli, really good wrestler.
Yeah. That dude could go.
Absolutely. Who else? Who else? I think Bob Holly was pretty good in '95 too.
He was a baby too.
Yeah.
He was still Sparkplug at the time, right? That was he didn't transition until late '90s or whatever. Yeah. Sparkplug Holly.
Yeah, Bob Sparkplug Holly had that
Thurman
match with 1-2-3 Kid against Tatanka and Bam Bam at Rumble '95. It was awesome, killer match. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that whole under to middle card of WWF right there, like it's filled with great wrestlers. Like Savio Vega, man, how good of a wrestler is he? Awesome.
Savio can still go a little bit too.
Yeah,
He's like
he can.
60 years old or whatever he is. Yeah.
I actually got to work with him on a show in Vineland, New Jersey in like 2013, and that was so cool. And I remember meeting Savio. Savio was one of the first wrestlers I met when I was 9 years old. When I went, there was like a fan fest thing in the Poconos, and like Savio was there, Fatu, 1-2-3 Kid, Henry Godwin, Mr. Perfect, Duke the Dumpster Drozy, Doc Hendricks.
That basically sounds like Disney World for a little kid, like for kids like us.
Oh my God, it was amazing. Like they, when you go to like a hotel or like a resort, like one of the channels is like their update channel of things that I got. Well, that whole weekend they just turned it into they turned that channel for 3 days and they showed nothing but WWF, like pay-per-views. Like I remember
tremendous.
Yeah, it was so strange. I remember like being in the jacuzzi tub and we moved the TV into the bathroom so I could watch. I remember being in the jacuzzi watching the Bret Hart Bob Backlund I Quit match from WrestleMania 11.
Oh wow!
I have a vivid
in a jacuzzi. Yeah.
In a jacuzzi. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now are you born or raised in Jersey, or you've always, I mean, like just longtime Jersey resident? You're a Jersey. You are one of the most Jersey people I know.
Yeah, born and raised Atlantic City.
I mean that in a good way. Like you represent very, very well.
Oh fuck yeah! I mean like, it's funny that you say that because like when I would go to like these school trips like in college or whatever, almost every time I went, people were like, oh. They would just call me Jersey, like, because like I was so New Jersey, I guess. Like I was always like every time I would go back, I went like 3 or 4 times. Like the group of kids, every time I saw them, they're like, "Yo, Jersey, what's good?" I was like, always repping, I guess.
Now, being a Jersey guy, you had early access to a lot of wrestling. I was lucky enough in the Northeast as well, but the Jersey area, you were just rich in it. When did you start going to shows?
The first WWF show was on Super Bowl Sunday of 1996. It was a matinee at the Philadelphia Spectrum. The old Core States Spectrum, which no longer exists, unfortunately.
Was that a cool building?
Yeah, it was cool. I remember I saw a guy wearing the white Sandman T-shirt from ECW around that time, and I thought that one fan was like the coolest guy in the whole room because he was wearing a Sandman shirt. And I think subconsciously that's why I'm such a wrestling shirt guy. Because, like, I saw that and I was like, wow, that guy's really cool. He's wearing a Sandman shirt.
Oh, so we're gonna get into your shirts. Don't worry, because you're maybe the one person fashion wise I am most jealous of with wrestling shirts. Your collection is unbelievable.
I have an addiction. I really do.
No, mine's bad too. I think a lot of people who are listening to the show have the same addiction. So
we're all the same. We're cut from the same cloth.
So, at what point did you start going to indie shows?
My first indie show was
and ECW
November.
Counts too.
Huh?
ECW counts too. Like
I never made it to ECW. I had my uncle talked to me about going there a few times, but I mean, how was that going to happen? He doesn't drive. I mean, that wasn't going to... Anyway, but I unfortunately never made it to an ECW show, which sucks. I went to 2 WCW shows, both Nitros, but the first indie show that I went to took place at Holy Spirit High School, which is like 20 minutes away from me, in November of 1998. On that show, I remember Stevie Richards wrestling Rick Ratchet in a ladder match.
They broke out the ladder for a show at Holy Spirit High School.
Yeah, they most certainly did. The Iron Sheik was at the show. He wasn't on it. He was at it. The Headbangers wrestled on the show. I'm trying to think who else I saw. I want to say maybe that was a show that Bart Gunn was on as well.
Mike Plotchek.
Yeah, I think that was the show that he was on. I know I saw. Yeah, I know I saw Bart Gunn. I can't remember which show because I went to 3 Dennis Coraluzzo shows. That was a Coraluzzo show.
Sure.
I went to one at Holy Spirit High School. I went to one at Egg Harbor Township High School, and I went to one at Atlantic City High School, which I then graduated from later on in life.
Any
Atlantic
memories
City
of Dennis Coraluzzo, by the way, because he's a fascinating character in the world in the history of independent wrestling. I don't think he gets his due for what he did during that time.
Who's that, Coraluzzo?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He was he's kind of like the precursor to the quote unquote smart mark kind of indie fed, right?
Yeah, he was doing it 15 years before anyone else was doing it.
Right, and bringing in the names, and he had the young guys on the undercard that could like do stuff, with your Devin Storms and your Ace Darlings and your Steve Carinos and Stevie Richards and stuff all at that time. The main event at the Atlantic City show that I went to was Darren Drozdoff versus John Cronus.
Oh, man. Boston's own John Cronus.
And John Cronus, brother, he hit the gig, and he hit a good one. He was busted wide open. I remember he was walking past us, to go to the back, and I get as close as possible, and I'm like, damn, he bladed deep, brother. I said that as a freaking 13 or 14-year-old to my cousin. Yeah, I'm cool because I'm using smart terms. That was also the show that I bought Super J Cup 1994 on VHS. Was
that your entry to Japanese wrestling?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That was my first ever Japanese wrestling tape. I watched it the next day, and I was blown away.
Yeah, it was so different back then too from what you were seeing. Like, so here's my question: like, you go to those first couple indie shows, but you're like a big time, especially probably as a kid, I can just see you were a big time wrestling guy. Yeah. What was the reaction to like independent wrestling from someone who just watched the stuff with the big lights for the longest time?
Well, see, that's the thing. As soon as I got into wrestling, like I was like in like heavy. So it wasn't just, I'm a casual fan for a little bit. No, I discovered it and I went 110% into it. So I would be getting the after mags like that whole summer. Like I got PWI, The Wrestler, Inside Wrestling, and sometimes I would get Pro Wrestling America if it was around. That was more so
Wrestling America, man.
Or Wrestle America. It was one of the two. Wrestle America, one of those two. But I think that was more of a quarterly, wasn't it? Wrestle America?
I don't remember it being a monthly. Yeah. I remember seeing it very, very occasionally. I think it would get Wrestle America, or something like that. Yeah, something America, and I remember rarely seeing it.
Mm-hmm. And I would just go cover to cover. Shout out to Chris Elner. I would go cover to cover in these magazines, and they would be covering independent wrestling and stuff like that. That's how, when I first got into wrestling, I remember reading about USWA and Smoky Mountain, knowing what they were, but never seeing them because we didn't get them in my area. And there was also, what was the indie that was on TV? I guess it was IWCCW.
Yeah, that's Savoldi's.
Yeah, so we got their TV in my neck of the woods, so I was seeing a bit of indie wrestling, I guess, from a couple years prior, because they weren't running in 1995.
They were showing the reruns of the same 5 matches.
Yeah, Tony Atlas and Dick Steamboat. Tons of times. There was the one, I remember seeing this one Mondo Clean promo over and over and over again, I felt like. But I was like, ooh, Mondo Clean, that's Damian Demento. Anyway.
He's not a jobber.
Yeah, oh shit. He's very passionate about that.
He's very passionate about that.
I knew that it existed. It was just a matter of getting there, because I would read the results in the correspondence pages and everything like that. So I knew it was a thing. I saw it. I saw the IWCCW, but actually being there in the gym, man, it was awesome. It didn't faze me as being low budget or anything like that. All I knew is I'm going to see wrestling, and this thing kicks ass. Let's go.
Yeah, I love, this show here is kind of a love letter to independent wrestling. I actually like independent wrestling more just because of the intimacy.
Especially with the wrestlers themselves. I mean, there's no way that you can buy a shirt off of freaking Hunter Hearst Helmsley personally. You couldn't do that. But now, if you want to go buy somebody's shirt, you have an actual interaction with the wrestler you're supporting on the independents. That's awesome. Can't beat that. Can't beat it.
So at what point do you decide this is something I want to get involved with?
It was always kind of something that I thought about. It would be cool if I got to do this. And the this that I was thinking of was always commentary. I thought, I would always kind of like to do that.
You're not a large man.
No. I never
see you maybe taking a bump, but not multiple bumps that would constitute a wrestling match.
Yeah, no, I never contemplating wanting to be a wrestler. Even when we were kids playing in the front yard, I had a big front yard. We wrestled in the front yard, not the backyard. The backyard had too many car parts. My dad's a big car guy. Gotcha. So that was the backyard was a junkyard, and the front yard is where we wrestled. But when I was wrestling around, when there would be more kids around, I said, okay, I'll be the referee. You guys go fuck each other up. I'm gonna chill. I was never really much for. I don't think I ever wanted to be a wrestler, But doing a little commentary here and there. I thought that would be cool. I expressed interest to the guy who was working at Force One. He was actually a customer of mine at TGI Fridays. I heard him talking about the show to his children, and I was like, "Oh, I was at that show. Oh, what'd you think? I thought it was cool." Da 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 da. And then he would be a regular customer of mine, and eventually he was like, "Did you ever want to do anything?" "Oh, maybe commentary." "Oh, that would be cool." And then months go by. I show up to a show, and he said, "Oh, do you still want to do commentary?" I say, "Yeah." He says, "Cool, you're on match number 4. What the fuck? Okay. And I just kind of lucked into it. Just a conversation I had with this guy, and he looked out for me and told the promoter that I would be that I knew a lot about Breaker Morant. That was the wrestler who I was supposed to be an expert of. And, I had seen a handful of Breaker Morant matches in my day, but I didn't necessarily consider myself an expert. But that's what he told the promoter, and that's what I went with. And boy, oh boy, does my performance in that match suck. I don't know what I'm doing. But I stuck with it, and here I am.
So at what point, because I had Mose on for the last show, and I asked him the same question too. At what point did you feel like, I'm starting to feel this a little bit. I'm not terrified. I have a little confidence. At what certain point, doing commentary or, how far in do you feel like, I'm capable of this?
Probably in my frame of mind then, I feel like I became fairly comfortable pretty quickly, if only because I would say comfortable in my surroundings probably within the first 6 to 8 months. And the reason I say that is because I was really only working for Force One, and I would go to training every Tuesday and Thursday. And it was mostly like a student promotion and they would bring in the vets to fill in the upper part of the card. But it was like a real camaraderie that we all had because we were with each other at least 10 times a month, so I'm being around them at all the time, at the school and everything, made my job at the shows easier. And at that point in time, the shows were recorded, but they weren't necessarily distributed for any reason. So it's not like now where if you're just starting out now, you might be just starting out live streaming on IWTV or Fight, and it's shit, I'm brand new, but being streamed all over the place. There, I kind of got to get the reps in a nice environment where I was comfortable, and I didn't necessarily have to worry about a lot of people watching it and, being nervous about that. So, I was brought up in a nice little environment, which enabled me to become confident, I feel, quicker than most would without that.
Now, I see you do commentary and I see you do ring announcing. I kind of see you as a jack of all trades, doing everything, little thing to help. But that's where two things are you're known most prominently. Do you enjoy one more than the other?
I think I enjoy commentary more, honestly. And I feel like that surprises people when I say that. But the reason why is, you get to sit there and talk about wrestling. That's happening right now in front of your eyes. That is cool. That's the coolest job in the world to me. Now, ring announcing is really cool too, but you don't.
I think they require different levels of enthusiasm too, because when you're out there doing ring announcing, you're Flavor Flav hype man.
Right. Whereas,
where you're just telling stories on commentary. Am I getting this correct or?
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta bring different levels of the same. I would say bring the same level of energy. Just same level of energy. Just put it out there differently. You know what I mean? Like you want to be high energy at the commentary table and on the mic in the ring, but you have to utilize that energy in different ways. Like ring announcing is just all like just pumping people up and setting the table and, you know, trying to make these guys and girls seem as huge as they are, like put them on a huge pedestal. Whereas like commentary, you know, you're telling that story and you want to be engaging. You have to be engaging for a long time as a commentator. You don't want people to get sick and tired of your voice and stuff. You know, ring announcing, it's quick, in and out, you know. But commentary, you have to keep the energy up for a long time. You have to be engaging. You can't be repetitive with your phrases. You got to get a lot of different stuff over. So I think it's more. There's a lot more stuff going on in commentary too, because you got to plug stuff and put stuff over and tell the story, tell the backstory, say where you're going, and talk about the moves, and you know.
I think too in commentary, you got to be a car. You have to be a car that can shift gears. While you know, ring announcing, you're in 6th gear all the time.
Right, or very quick flashes of time. You know, you're in there, and you know the ring announcer's job is, you know, usually like a minute long for every match, right? Commentary, you're sitting there, you know, for however long the show is, constantly doing your thing. That's what I like about it. I like the commentary part. I love the ring announcing too. Don't get me wrong, but commentary was always like the thing that I wanted to do, and I sort of commentary was always what I wanted to do, and ring announcing is something that came through the process.
So you're with Force One. How does the snowball get started? You know, you working, because you worked, you know, H2O, Jersey All Pro, CZW. You've been booked at CZW for a while. Beyond, obviously, you're known at GCW. You know, Violence for Suffering. You know, Hybrid, the New Jersey Championship Wrestling. You know, like how does the ball get rolling?
So at Force One, we had a manager named Jimmy Clydesdale. Great guy. Unfortunately, he passed away about, maybe, 6 to 8 years ago now, maybe.
It's a great wrestling name.
Oh, he was great. He was the ultimate stud. Jimmy Clydesdale, the 1/8 wonder of the world. He was a short guy. Short little guy. But he, sweetheart of a man. Oh, my God. Love that guy to death. He was a manager at Force One, but he was also refereeing a little bit for CZW at the same time. So Clydesdale and I got to be very, very good friends, and he knew that of everybody that was coming around to Force One, I was like the fucking indie fan mark, just to the nth degree. Like I was like, everybody knew like that. I told him, I was like, yo, I've been going to shows like 3-4 times a month for the past 2 years, everywhere I can go. Like they knew that I was just going everywhere. So Clydesdale goes, we get a comp at CZW. Do you want to come backstage or whatever? So Clydesdale put me on the list as his complimentary guest, and that's when I started coming around CZW like officially.
And this is like the height of CZW too, I think. You know, like their roster was ridiculous for a while.
Yeah, this is 2009. And I do remember though, there was an MBA show, Maven Bentley Association, which was like the I guess like the AAA version. I mean, baseball terminology, not
yeah.
Like version like for CZW. You know what I mean? It was like their little student shows, And I remember Brett Lauderdale actually got me the hookup for that, because he was pretty new into CZW at that point in time. And we used to sit together in the same side at the arena when we were all fans. So that's how I knew Lauderdale. And Lauderdale knew that I was starting out. Did a Force One. I did a couple Force One shows. I did one ACPW show, which Loudy, the promoter for On Point Wrestling, he got me that gig. And that's another guy. We sat in the same section. Me, Loudy, Lauderdale, John Blood, all these people all on the same side.
It's wild the connections you make just being, being a fan and being part of it. I've got more friends than I know what to do with. Yeah, I completely know. I got more friends than I know what to do with because I just sat in the crowd with these people and started chatting them up.
Mm-hmm. And that's really all you got to do. And but anyway, Lauderdale got me a gig at the Maven Bentley show. This was January of 2009. So this is all like right around the same time. So I do this Maven Bentley show. I was going to do commentary, but they didn't really have like commentary like set up. So what I was doing was I was actually the cameraman. I had the hand cam, and I was the roving cameraman. And for the entire show, I did commentary into the microphone of the camera.
That rules so much.
Yeah. I wonder if any of those matches still exist. I know there were a couple of them on YouTube for a while. Like I remember, like Devin Moore was in one of the matches. Like Devin Moore and like LJ Cruz. Somebody else. I'm trying to think of like what matches were up on the YouTube. I can't remember now. That was in 2009 already, so yeah, over 12 years ago. But yeah, weird things like that. Doing. Oh, you know what else I remember? So this is before I got started in Force One even. CZW was doing shows in the backyard of a strip club in Vineland.
That's so on brand.
Yeah. And I went to a couple of those. They had in June of 2008, they had like a full-fledged show in the backyard of a strip club, which was in the afternoon. And that same day, I went to a Force One show that night. Yeah, I double shot it as a fan.
I've done that.
Yeah,
I've totally done that.
Yeah, that's good. Like
we have a sickness. We have a disease.
Sickness. But later on, after that, I want to say late August, early September, under the Maven Bentley Association banner, they would run shows on Thursday nights, like student shows, and in the backyard of the strip club. So I would go to these shows after my classes let out. I went to Stockton University, and then I would drive up to Vineland, watch this show. But because I was like a familiar face, I vividly remember DJ Hyde saying to me, he says, "When are you going to start coming to the school, fucko?" And I was like, I don't know. And then like a month, I guess, yeah, like 2 months later, because yeah, this September, my first show was in November. Yeah, so 2 months later, I get started in doing stuff Force One. I do the ACPW thing. Lauderdale gets me the gig doing the camera work, commentary thing. I start coming as Clydesdale's guest. So then by September of 2009 at the Chris Catch Memorial Show, that's when I had my first chance to do commentary on a CZW show proper, which was Trent Acid versus Rory Gulak, unfortunately. So.
Whoa, yeah, that's
yeah. He was Little Mondo at that point in time.
Those are two people.
Yeah, I love Trent. I love Trent, but yeah, Rory's a little weird, and by a little I mean a lot.
Yeah, that got dark. So CZW, you kind of start going with CZW now. I
Nothing
remember.
but love for Drew, though. Nothing but love for Drew. Drew Gulak, amazing. One of my best friends. Love him.
Now, I remember this was going years back. You actually helped run the CZW student shows. You did some booking.
Yeah.
You kind of were the major domo of Dojo Wars. And
I could have sworn you were going to call me the maitre d', and I was going to lose.
I went for major domo. So that's a different muscle in your brain.
Yeah.
Talk to me about being being office essentially.
It was a lot of fun, man. When you're doing that, especially for a weekly show in front of like pretty much the same fans showing up week to week, you got to keep things interesting. You got to keep things moving. Got to keep things exciting, and that to me was fun. I got the reins to Dojo Wars in January 2016 after it became. After Gulak was contacted to be part of the Cruiserweight Classic that year. That's really kind of what started everything. Mm-hmm. I remember vividly. We're working over the show. We're putting it together, and Gulak takes me outside and he said, "Listen, do you want this? He goes, do you want to have this?" What do you mean? He goes, I have a job opportunity coming up, and I'm not going to be able to be here. He said, do you want to do this? I said, fuck yeah, man. I want to do this. So he said, okay, I only have 2 requests. He said, 1, keep the medal on Brittany Blake for as long as possible. And number 2, don't let DJ tell you what to do. This is yours. Because this was mine. Now I'm giving it to you. So Gulak gave me Dojo Wars starting January 2016. And then we ran consistently every week up until about January 2018, I suppose.
You made a couple of years, man.
2 years straight through, weekly shows on Wednesdays, and then we added like the super shows, like a monthly bigger show.
The pay-per-views, baby.
Basically, that's what it was, and almost every day was like dedicated to Dojo Wars some way, shape, or form. Whether it was talking to people about coming in, whether it was I had an idea, I would just get ideas for people on the roster and I would hit them up, just all times of the day. What do you think about this? Is this cool? Would you want to do this? And then I would talk to people on my roster all the time. Very busy doing that, putting matches together. If I was not putting them together, but booking things and seeing how I wanted it to go. And whenever I would watch stuff, whenever I would see moves and spots, I'm like, oh shit, that would be really cool for this guy to do. So I would take a recording of it and I would show it to him. What do you think about doing this? Just anything that I saw that could make Dojo Wars better. That's what I was concentrating on, the whole thing. And I had a lot to do. I was booking the shows.
You were the guy there.
Yeah, ring announcing, commentary. I was taking money at the door. I was times, finishes, everything. The only thing I wasn't doing was wrestling. But I did have that one match against Blackwater. So throughout my time there, I did everything. Everything.
2 questions regarding Dojo Wars. 1, do you miss it? And 2, what lessons from that do you pull into what you're doing today?
Ooh, do I miss it? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes more than others. The one thing I don't miss, because like I said, it was like constant every day. when I stopped, like I was basically burnt out, doing it for 2 full years every week. Like,
Imagine.
Once, 'cause I don't miss the feeling of burnout at all. But I do, since I stopped in 2018, I have gotten the itch again now and then. So yeah, I do miss it. It was a great time in my life, but I don't know if I would want all of that responsibility again.
Makes sense.
Yeah. In terms of what lessons I learned, and how I apply it to what I do today, I really think Dojo Wars is what, got me to a next level in what I do. Because it was just constant, week in, week out, repetition, getting my reps in. And I just think that having the ability to go in and week out, having the creative freedom, because Gulak, before he gave me the program, he allowed me to be creative with things and come up with stuff and think about things and give nicknames to guys or come up with stuff. Like right now, like with JJ Garrett, we come up with new stuff to say about him, like nicknames and like different funny fake hometown names that we can give him, just
that
stuff
guy's
like
awesome,
that.
by the way.
He rules, man. And if you haven't seen it, watch. It's on YouTube. The whole show was awesome. Hybrid wrestling, roll of the dice. But JJ Garrett and Jordan Oliver had a fucking banger, bro. Holy shit, what a match.
I was at a match in Nashville, near Nashville, that Wombat match where he did a 10-minute match and they only did a headlock.
Yeah, yep.
It was the best.
This last time when he came out against Jordan, I said he was from Hashville, Tennessee, and called him Pot Steiner. Just dumb stuff like that. But yeah, just having the creative freedom and to come up with stuff and say things but most of all, confidence. It gave me confidence to step in the ring whenever and just be comfortable in what I'm saying and how I'm presenting it. And you don't just do a program like Dojo Wars week in and week out and not improve. Wrestlers improved, the referees improved, I improved, everybody improved. So that's what I would say, confidence.
So turning the page a little bit, you mentioned JJ Garrett. You're right now, the hype man in GCW. You're working in Jersey Championship Wrestling, Violence versus Suffering. You've done Beyond and stuff like that. Who are some of the guys to watch out for? I guess you mentioned JJ Garrett as one of them. You're essentially a talent scout, in some way, shape, or form, because you're at all these shows and you're seeing all these matches and seeing a lot of young guys too. You're at H2O and who if someone here is not familiar with independent wrestling, kind of wants to dip their toe in, but wants to see some guys on the rise, who would be some of the people to watch out for? Seek out.
Okay, I will just state that if you're looking for the next gen, check out the kids from the H2O, man. I'm telling you what, they have an abundance of great.
The training school is
talent.
pumping them out. Yeah,
pumping them out. We're seeing Marcus Mathers and Dylan McKay get out there a bit now through Jersey Championship Wrestling and Game Changer Wrestling. They're starting to get out there a bit, but also with them, Austin Luke, Ryan Redfield. They got this dude named Stretch, who's awesome. He used to wrestle as Nothing Face, which was also another awesome name. And Declan Grant, and just everybody that's coming out of H2O. They got this kid named Rocket, man. Holy shit, he's like a space alien. The things that these kids can do is just unbelievable. And unfortunately, I don't have a list of everybody who they have on their every young kid on their roster. But
one of the kids who come to mind, yeah.
Yeah, they're probably the rising stars of the group. Right.
Yeah,
now,
I love all their shows that I watch. I mean, they're just and I mean, it's not surprising too, given the school they're going to.
And it's gotta, they're all so respectful, and they're brought up the right way, man. And ain't none of these kids a shithead, and that's why I say the whole H2O, because maybe if they're not even the best wrestler right now, they're all good people. That to me is
and Matt Tremont's training now, right?
Yeah. It's Matt Tremont.
A lot of that is why. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also a dude from around this area named Preacher. He was involved in Dojo Wars a lot as well. He was one of my right hand men, and I'll tell you what, he ran a promotion up here called BWO, a Blackballed Wrestling or Body Slam Wrestling organization. Blackballed was something else.
Blackballed
that was
some name for wrestling.
Yeah, that was in Pennsylvania. Blackballed something or other. But anyway, he ran BWO. Nice guy, Preacher, been around for a long time, and is a really excellent teacher. If you ever get a chance to go to one of the H2O Undiscovered shows, is what they're called. It's basically the Dojo Wars for H2O. It's every other Monday at the H2O Wrestling Center, and Preach puts those shows together. I would be there every time if my schedule was allowed me to be there, but he does great work with them kids, man. I can't put over the H2O kids enough.
Now, talking about some of the more established independent names, you're associated, especially doing ring announcing and stuff like that, with a lot of people. And there's one person I want to talk about, and that is one Nick Gage. Nick Gage, someone who a lot of people listening to this show might have just gotten familiar with from the Dark Side of the Ring. You mentioned to me earlier that you have some wholesome Nick Gage stories. Do you mind sharing a couple there?
Yeah, I'll share two wholesome Nick Gage stories. The shorter one first. We had Nick Gage in at NWA Force One. He was one of our guys, starting in 2010. And Force One, we were a family-friendly organization. So we told everybody, hey, man, no cussing, none of this, none of that. But, Nikki's there. What's going to happen, right? So Nikki goes out, does this thing, even cuts a promo, this, that, and the other. Everything fine, PG. He comes through the curtain, and he goes, Nikki did good.
I actually saw him work a wholesome show, too, because he worked SCI one year.
Yeah,
and it was
at kids, man.
It was at a school, and the kids followed him around like the Pied Piper.
The kids love Nick Gage, man. We had this
Gage
past
for the
weekend.
children.
Yeah, we had these two little girls dressed up like Nick Gage at the GCW shows this weekend. Awesome. With the bandanas and camo shorts, everything. It was awesome.
Did I ever tell you the story about my kid with Nick Gage?
I don't think so.
Okay.
What did she do?
We went to a Beyond, they were doing the weekly shows on IWTV. I forget what they were calling them. But we went to the Beyond show. We drove up to Massachusetts for Christmas, and there happened to be a Beyond show. Uncharted Territory. Yep. There happened to be an Uncharted Territory taping the first night we got there. So my kid and I had been in the car for 20 hours, and I really wanted to go to this show. And I'm like, Ava, I will buy you whatever toy you want if you go to this show with me. Because, I was there before my whole family, basically. And she's like, okay, Daddy. And she was so exhausted. This is one of my poor parenting decisions, but also is hysterical. So I take her to Uncharted Territory, and she's being a trooper, and she's staying awake, and she's trying to enjoy it and stuff like that. But she's kind of a little zonked because we've been in the car for so long. And Gage comes out at the end. And Gage does his mosh pit routine basically, and we'll get into the anatomy of a Nick Gage entrance in a second. But he does this Nick Gage entrance routine, and he starts moshing with everybody basically and stuff like that. And there was another little kid there, and the little kid was going crazy and stuff like that. And he comes up to us, and Ava kind of shirks in terror, and he just goes, "You're shy," and then he moves on and just keeps doing it.
That's good. I like that.
She was just exhausted. And I bought her anything she wanted afterwards. Yeah, that maybe says a lot about me as a parent. Yeah, she's the best. She's the absolute best. So your other Nick Gage story.
2009. I am the CZW gopher, basically. Just doing odd jobs. This job on this day was, hey, can you go pick up Nick Gage from the airport? Oh, fuck yeah, I can. I can do that. It's fine. So I go to the Philadelphia airport, and I park my car in the thing, and I'm walking over towards, like, the arrivals or whatever, and then I see Gage with his luggage bag and, like, his backpack. I'm looking over at him. He's looking over at me, like, we're kind of, like, across, like, we're probably about half a football field away from each other, just about. Maybe a little closer. And he gives me, like, a head nod. I return it, and he points at himself, and I go, and I shake my head up and down, and he does, like, a Tiger Woods fist pump. Yeah! And then he starts walking over to me. Like, okay, cool. So we get in the car, we're shooting the shit. How was your flight? Da-da-da-da-da. And me, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't really know what music he likes to listen to. Like, I know he comes out to Metallica, but, like, I don't know if he likes to listen to it or what he likes. So I didn't have the radio on. We're just talking. And he goes, hey, man, like, you don't, like, listen to music or anything? I said, oh, yeah, I do. I just wasn't sure what you want to put on. So he turns on Power 99, the hip-hop station in Philly. I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then he goes, you know what, man? You ever think, like, what it would be like if the world had no music? And I'm like, bro, that would suck. He's like, you're fucking right, it would suck. I'm like, man, I love music, man. But just the fact that, like Gage is, like, you see Gage, like, he's carving people up and fucking pussy that and this, that, and the other. We go pick him up from the airport, he's pumping his fists, he's excited, talking to you about music, and, like, yeah, man, like, he's so cool. So cool. But yeah, those are my two little wholesome Nick Gage stories from, like, a decade ago.
Obviously, you have a kind of, people kind of associate you in a lot of ways with the Nick, I'm not going to ask you to perform it on command, but with the Nick Gage entrance. So talk about because the Nick Gage entrance may be my favorite thing in independent wrestling, honestly, as far as from, like, a crowd energy, getting hyped, motivational standpoint. I mean, is it up there for you as well? Kind of describe your visceral and how you contribute to it. Your kind of visceral feelings on a Nick Gage entrance.
I mean, like you said, like, that's where, like, that's energy right there. Because, like, I know, like, it's a special thing. Like, the people love it. I love to do it. It hypes Nicky up like a motherfucker, man. Like that, like him, like listening to that, like it's like him coming out into the crowd and moshing with everybody. That gets him pumped up. But like the introduction, man, he really gets fired up from that. Like every time I'm about to do it, Nick looks at me in the face, right in the eye. He says, "Give it to me." He says, "Fucking give it to me." Yeah, I'll give it to you, my friend. No questions asked. And I just go as hard as I possibly can. And, you know, it started out as like a freestyle type thing. It was the first time I did like an entrance for Nicky like that, where it was like MDK all fucking day, was the match he had at Art of War in July 2016 against Matt Riddle. And that was just like, I was just saying stuff as it was like coming to my head. It was just like whatever. And then like as the progress, did I say 2016? I meant 2017, I believe. I meant 2017, sure. But whatever. Anyhow,
just the energy involved in getting hyped.
Yeah, like it's a unparalleled feeling, like in terms of what I do. Like that's like the biggest introduction I give anybody, and I love it because before the biggest introduction I would give anybody was, you shouldn't really be talking about him, Mr. Star, what with all of his.
Oh, right, yeah, okay,
all
yeah.
of his nicknames.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before, that was the one that I could do, but fuck that one. It was this Nick Gage one. First of all, he's a good person, and it's a lot more awesome, and the people love it, and man, people always people come up to me and they tell me how cool they think the intro is, and how it pumps them up, and some people listen to the introduction I gave to them at spring break as motivation before they go to the gym. And they're wow, fuck, that's incredible. I'm just so I get taken aback when people tell me that, because wow, it's it has an impact on people and shit. So
I think that's one thing. There's little things, and I even got bitter on modern wrestling for a little while, but I think that there's, everyone's just it used to be better, right? And I think that there's things you can find in modern wrestling that are as good, if not better, than it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
not a lot of things, but there are some.
There are some. Well, that's what I'm saying. There's little glimmers here and there. It's you know what? This is an improvement. This this holds up.
And honestly, I think the last year or so included, it's been a lot better, at least on the independents, than it has been in a while. For me, I think. I think these next few years are going to be just out of control good. I don't know if that's just me being optimistic, but I'm seeing all this young talent. I'm not seeing any of these young kids trying to be joke wrestlers or meme wrestlers and hokey bullshit. Nah, a lot of these kids are going hard. Seriously. And I love to see that. So I think I joke that, not a lot of things are as good or better than they used to be back in the day, but I think in the next few years it's going to be even more.
One other thing that goes hard, and then we'll close it up. Your shirt collection?
Oh,
it brings a tear to a glass eye. Talk about some of the gems that you have for people who have not seen your full, array of wrestling shirts.
I mean, this has a little bit of recency bias, but the Jeff Jarrett shirt that I was wearing,
so good, so good.
Yeah, I mean, it is recency bias, but I fucking love this shirt. A lot of these all over print shirts that I have are my favorite ones. The stuff that Dad's Wrestling Shit put out on he put out 4 different all over print T-shirts. He's the guy that put out the fake Razor shirt, the Marty Jannetty Heartbreak, the Marty Jannetty Super 8 shirt, the 5 dudes with attitudes, and what's the other one all over print that the Vince Screwed Brett shirt. I love those. But just because I mentioned him specifically doesn't mean that not everybody else is crushing. Stash Pages is awesome. I love Matt Botvin's work. I love Grateful Deathmatch, 2800 Studios. Fucking if I'm forgetting anybody, I apologize. But
what are some of the other gems in your collection aside from the all over print Jeff Jarrett shirt for people who haven't seen, exactly what you have in your closet?
Let's see. Let me open up my closet real quick here. This one the Stash Pages did, the poster, the airbrush poster looking thing for Terry Funk's WrestleFest from '97. I really like that one. I'm trying to. Oh yeah, of course the "Fuck You, We Are Nikki and Bree" take off of Giotto and Ghetto.
Yes.
Which I'm really happy that I got the Nikki and Bree one, because I always wanted the Dickinson and Jocko one, the Doom Patrol.
I have that.
Yeah, I'm jealous of you.
I can't wear it anywhere, but I have it.
Right. Let's see. Virtual Pros with their Hayabusa 450 degrees shirt. That's a classic one. Just anything cool I can find.
This is your little habit.
Heel Turn, the hardcore band out of Alabama.
Our dear close personal friend Josh Allen.
Yes, I like his shirts.
Yeah, his shirts rule. He's also one of my best friends and puts a lot of work into those.
And back in the day, Electric Zombie used to make great WWF inspired stuff until he got hit with a cease and desist from WWF. But and then a couple classic ones I have an original 1995 ECW Quote the Raven shirt. And I also have an original Jersey All-Pro Spanish announce team shirt, which it's like a 2X, but fuck it, I want it. And I also have an original Ring of Honor Amazing Red T-shirt that I still wear sometimes. Yeah, where it says "Expect the Unexpected" on the back. The red shirt with his logo in the middle. That's a cool one. Back in the day, Eric Cannon had a really awesome white shirt with his logo that was on the upper shoulder. That was a really awesome shirt. I gotta find that. I know I have that somewhere, but yeah, those are just some of them.
Yeah, you've got a great collection, man, and it's every time you're coming out with something new and fresh, and just making people like me who appreciate good shirts just absolutely jealous.
And I appreciate it, man. It's an expensive hobby, but one that I truly enjoy.
So, if people want to find you, if people want to book you, if people want to just enjoy your work, where these days can people find Emil Jay?
Twitter, at the Emil Jay, TheEmiljay. Yeah, I like to fuck around a lot on Twitter. I feel really bad for people who think I'm always serious. Because come on, man. It's only Twitter. It's jokes. But
and half the jokes we're making are for the same 5 people, and we're just trying to pop each other, basically.
Exactly. And especially now, with this Matt Cardona stuff, I'm having a blast with that.
The best.
Yeah, I'm having fun with that. Because, man, I'm Nikki's guy. What do you think? I'm going to just be oh, yeah, I love Matt Cardona. No, come on, man. This is wrestling. We got to make it feel a certain type of way, right?
I made the point the other day that, I don't understand why people hate Matt Cardona because he's basically our squad goals. He's marrying a very beautiful woman. Mm-hmm. He has all the wrestling figures in the world, and he made possibly millions of dollars from WWE.
Yeah, we're all just jealous.
Yeah, we're just painfully jealous.
He's the one of us that won.
Yeah, he made it.
He won the game.
Yeah.
I like him. I mean, I do. Did I just break kayfabe? Did I shatter it?
Oh, whoops. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
But yeah, on Twitter, I like to have fun on there. Instagram, no, not really. I only use Instagram to see what new wrestling shirts are coming out, honestly.
It's a good use for it.
Yeah. But that's basically about it. Twitter's where I stay. If you want to email me for a booking, I guess, theemiljay@gmail.com. But that's basically it. And please interact with me. I like to have fun. And yeah.
Well, Emil, thank you so much. You're a great friend and a hell of a guy. And you bring an energy to wrestling that is rare and sorely needed.
Thank you so much, Ben. I appreciate you for having me on. I appreciate you for being my friend for all these years. And, man, if there's one thing in this world I love, it's wrestling. And just being able to do a little bit in the wrestling world in a positive way makes me very, very happy.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for listening to the show.